Today, continuing on the series of lever locks, I have a higher security lock. This is the Ross 600 series security safe lock. It's a 6-lever lock designed to be installed on safes. It's made in Australia. They're actually made in Australia, these sorts of locks, because we have pretty strict regulations on guns, and people who own guns have to have gun safes, and there are minimum requirements for the security level of those locks that go on gun safes. And so Ross has a market in making pretty high security lever locks and safe locks. So this one, it's a 6-lever lock, and it's interesting. It's center drive with 3 levers either side of the bolt. It has 2 positions, so it can be mounted either horizontally or vertically, depending on the layout of your safe. And it's got folded high strength steel casing around it, and there is also, you can buy a plate, sort of an armor plating that fits over this section, so it's pretty drill resistant as well as being highly pick resistant. This is a pretty secure lock at a pretty low price, so it's a good one to put on your safe. There is one more advanced lock above this. It's the Ross 700, which, as I understand it, has yet to be picked on camera in public. This one, there are plenty of locksmiths in Australia who say they can pick them. There aren't very many videos of that, probably because locksmiths tend to avoid lockpicking videos, except for the ones that are on forums and things. To pick this, I'll show you the key. This is the key, so it's obviously 6-bitted, and the driver in the middle there to actuate the bolt. Nice smooth operation. And the trick though is, because you've got to tension it from the middle, you kind of need that leverage that the end of the stem of the key gives by going into the back of the bolt, back of the lock, to allow that rotation of the center drive. And so it makes for a challenge in designing a pick design. I designed a sort of lever lock, created a lever lock at a 4mm wire like this, which fits in very neatly and will tension the lock, but because it doesn't have a extended stem, it tends to be very unstable, even though it fits neatly, because this is a 4mm key and that's 4mm wire, so it actually does fit very neatly into the lock. It doesn't actually stay stable while you're picking, really. So there you can see it's actually activating the, you can see a movement on the bolt that it's in the talon there. So even though those sorts of, there's another one that I made there, even though these sorts of tools are actually really useful on lever locks, the Australian Ross locks with their center drive seem to be resistant to that kind of thing. So instead, what I've done is bent a piece of wire into a strange looking loop, so that they can act a little bit like the center drive of the key. Now, for picking, I've taped over one of the 2 possible key orientations so as to not use that one. The reason I've done that is, in practice, the way these locks are mounted, there would just be a single key hole for key access. So if you were trying to pick a lock like this on a safe, you wouldn't have access to that second keyway. So it seems a little bit unrealistic to put it in that sort of way. Now it's a bit tricky to get this into place, but once we get it all the way around there, through the back, you can tell that it's through the back because it sort of isn't moving quite as much, and then you've got to sort of get it into that center, and I can see that I'm engaging with the talon of the bolt there. And to pick, it's simply a bent wire style pick. This one's made out of 2mm wire. Luckily the levers in these are pretty big, the bellies on them are quite large, so there's plenty of room for a 2mm piece of wire, although I have filed down the end of it just to make it a bit narrower so that you can select the particular levers a little more with a bit more finesse. So we just have to go through this pack. Tends to get a lot of ping-ponging between levers in this lock, and which is frustrating. And if you've got a lever that is a low lift lever, it's pretty easy to overset these. They have serrations to get caught in. Hear that ping-ponging and bouncing of frustrating, but nonetheless that's how you get through it. Oh, there's a false set, that's handy. So quite heavy tension on this lock, so it wants to be handled with a firm touch, otherwise those levers will bounce straight out at you. And we're open. Whew. Not an easy lock. And then just to get that key out, show that it's still working perfectly well. Good. Let's take a look inside. So to take this, so you actually see what I'm doing. Now this is a pretty easy lock to gut. Not such an easy lock to put back together, but I'm not going to show you that because we all only have so many hours in the day. So just do the two screws there. It takes off this armour plating cover, and we have this pretty simple mechanism. You can see in there that there are the lever pack. So when the key is in there, the way it operates is on the talon in the center there, bolt talon in the center, and the pack of levers you can see being opened there. It's really quite a nifty lock. And to open this without an explosion, typically we just take this top cover off, put that over there, and then already the first lever wants to jump out. Lever number 1, 2 and 3. Then what we want to do is take a centerpiece out right there. Oops, steer the camera. 1, 2, 3, and then the bolt and Talon assembly comes apart like so. And yes, it's really quite a nice little lock. You can see on the levers here that there are some nice serrations. I'm not sure how well that's coming up on camera. In the different gates, plenty of gate positions there. So that's the Ross 600, a really interesting Australian lever lock. Thank you for watching.